Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Welcome to the KillJoy Jake YouTube channel. If you're watching this on replay, please make sure to hit that little like button, subscribe, do all those fun things, especially if you like horror. This is the place for that kind of thing. Let me tell you, we got some fun reviews coming up very soon, by the way. Again, if you're watching this on replay, so make sure to check that out soon. We'll have a review of Sinners up on the page publicly soon this weekend. And I also want to get a Patreon exclusive, members exclusive video out on David Cronenberg's The Shrouds, a movie I feel like I could talk about all day long. Like if there's any movie I've seen recently that I could just go on and on and on about, it is that new David Cronenberg flick. Really interesting stuff. Oh, but there's a lot to talk about, frankly. In the world of horror, lots of fun stuff that we're going to get into tonight, like Final Destination 6 is only 3 weeks away. One of the franchise continuations I'm probably the most excited for. And also, we have I Know What You Did Last Summer on the horizon. We have a bunch of big releases in May. We had a really exciting announcement just recently that the Urban Legends reboot is going again. So like that's happening. We got a new project developing in that franchise, which was announced a little while ago, but it seems like now they're maybe it's a different project. I don't know what's up with that. I got to do some more investigation in all that. But it's exciting nonetheless. Lots of things to talk about. Let's get right on to it. AJ is joining us saying death is so close it hurts. Oh, it's going to hurt all right. In the best way possible. Man, the Hellraiser guys, the Cenobites, are going to lose their minds over that comment. King Matthew III is saying, I'm hyped for the new Final Destination and the new I Know What You Did Last Summer. It seems like this year and next year is good for horror films, with Scream 7 being next year. Ooh. Don't be too optimistic about Scream 7. Who knows, though? We have some fun stuff on the way. Lots of IP continuations for sure. I got to be honest. I think I'm a little more excited for Scary Movie 6 at this point, though. Marquise Ballum is saying, hey, buddy, what's up, Marquise? Welcome in. Welcome in, bud. Thanks for hanging out with us. Appreciate you. Alex Diaz de Silva, maybe, is the final trailer of Final Destination Bloodlines out, I assume you mean. I've seen a leaked version of it. I don't plan on talking about it until it actually does come out, but I'm already cooking up some theories, so I'm ready for it when it does drop officially. Shot by Shot is saying won't be able to stay long because I'm going to dinner with my family. I understand that. I have some plans with my family as well. My sister is officially married, which is so exciting. So all of us here are just kind of broke. So instead of having a big reception, we're just having a big party tonight, which is going to be great. So I'm really excited about all that. So we're kind of getting in, getting out. But if we do hit our super chat goal, I will go for a little longer. So there is that. There is that fun and exciting thing right there. RJ is saying 3 more weeks to go until Final Destination. I'm so excited. Me too, RJ. I'm hyped. I love that you're named after the raccoon from Over the Hedge, by the way. That makes me very happy. That's probably not what you're named after, but but I love that movie to death. Paula Fitzhenry is also hanging out with us saying hi. Hello, Paula. Welcome in. Thanks for being here. Erica is driving home right now, so is just going to be listening and glancing at chat, but not chat. You don't even have to glance at the chat, Erica. You focus on driving. It's all good. Thank you for hanging out with us. I appreciate you a ton. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Legion is with us too. What's up? How's it going, Legion? What's up? What's up, dude? Yes, I have seen Sinners and I loved it. It's probably my favorite horror film of the year. Without a doubt. Like without a doubt, it is my number one. I've really only had like 2 movies now completely blow me away. In terms of horror this year, and that is easily one of them. That's easily one of them. So I am I don't know. I'm just hyped. I can't wait to talk about that more in a bigger video. It is, when I saw it, I told myself this is not something that I can just willy-nilly put out a review of. It's got to be something a little more thought out. I've been writing down notes all week about a Sinners review. I'm hoping to get it out on Sunday, if not maybe Monday, but it's coming. We're making it happen because I gotta talk about that one, dude. It's easily the best horror film I've seen all year, without a doubt in my mind so far. Beats out literally everything else that has come out this year, in my opinion. Chase Ham is saying, hello, Jake. I'm excited for the stream. Well, guess what? It is just starting, baby. We're only 4 minutes into this fucking chaotic shit. So it's only going to get crazier from here, my friend. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Hey, Jake, I want to hear your reviews of Scream 7. I Know What You Did Last Summer 2025. You're going to have to wait like a little longer, Michael. Like at least until this summer for at least one of those. I hope I get to see Scream 7 maybe sooner than everybody else. That'd be really cool. How cool would that be to get an early review out on that bad boy? Probably not, as this is a very secretive film. You know, all the Scream films are secretive, right? They don't want to know, they don't want anybody to know any of the secrets. So there's never any early screeners on those bad boys. But you never know. Yeah, anything can happen. Anything can happen, Michael. So maybe I'll actually be able to see that one early. That would be cool. I Know What You Did Last Summer, kind of the same thing. It seems like they're going for like a new sort of twist. I hope they don't just bring the same killer back from the other two movies. I think that'd be kind of boring at this point. Come on, do something else. Turn that franchise into something else. At least try. Even if it fails, swing for the fences. You know what I mean? If you're going to do I Know What You Did Last Summer 3, which is what this movie essentially is, again, we don't count that original third film. It doesn't exist. I don't know what you're talking about. You might as well swing for the fences and do something weird. This is not a series that needs to be continued, but if you're going to do it, get weird with it. Like, you know, listen, I have a lot of critiques of Megan 2.0. Like, I think that trailer is whack as fuck, but at least they're getting weird. At least they're trying something. They're not just making the same movie again, and I respect that. So I'm hoping the same thing is happening here with I Know What You Did Last Summer. Really hoping for some for some sort of ambition to do something different, right? Your favorite liar. I just can't trust anything that comes out of this fella's mouth. I don't know what to tell you. But do you think Scream 7 could be the best sequel in the franchise, or have you lost all hope? I definitely don't think it'll be the best sequel in the franchise. I haven't lost all hope, though. I was thinking about it today a little bit, and I was thinking to myself, this is probably going to be a film that does do something really well. There was a lot of effort, clearly a lot of effort put into it, especially from director Kevin Williamson. He's got a lot of passion in this project, but it's a script that has been reworked like 1,000 times because of outside forces. That just historically does not, really bode well for this project. So like, I love Scream, man. I'm not a Scream hater. I'm a big fan of this franchise, but when that happens, and especially in this franchise, when that happens, it rarely results in a good product. So I see history repeating itself here with Scream 7, and I don't know. Doesn't look like it doesn't look it doesn't look very positive for the series, I guess. But anything's possible. Nothing would make me happier than to walk out of that theater loving that film. And I hope that happens. I really do. Deadshot is saying, you all just be careful now. Sinners is my favorite movie of the year right now, and I've only seen 2 movies. What was that threat? What was that threat with your first comment there, Deadshot? You with that ominous name and that ominous first message there, I'm getting kind of scared. Like, is there any windows in this room? Let's just make sure of that right now. Damn. Brutal. No, I'm just kidding. I love Sinners, though, too. Definitely my favorite of the year as well. You've only seen 2 movies, though. Okay, well, go see some more movies. There's a lot of great originals out there right now, especially right now, man. Woo, lots of good stuff. Taylor Linda Mood saying, literally found your channel today. Love your videos. Thank you so much, Taylor. I really appreciate that. I love that you're hanging out with us. I really do. It's a fun place to be, especially if you love horror. Thomas Clark is saying, hey, Jake, hope all is well with you. Same to you, Thomas. It's a Friday. Well, what could be going wrong right now? Let's not answer that question. let's not answer that, actually. But I hope you're doing well, though, Thomas. Thank you for hanging out with us a bunch. And you're also asking about the Urban Legend remake. Dude, I'm so excited. Urban Legend is one of my favorite Scream copycats from the late 90s and early 2000s. There's a bunch of those. Lots of really fun stuff there. But Urban Legend, there's something about it. It just tickles my pickle in all the right ways. I am so excited for more of that. That is a series that, very similar to I Know What You Did Last Summer, definitely goes completely off the rails once you get into its last or most recent entry. But it's a series that I would love to see some like fresh blood get breathed into. That's another one like Scream where I feel like it could go on forever because it's got a decent concept. And it's not too specific like I Know What You Did Last Summer. Like I Know What You Did Last Summer is just, it's so specific. How do you continue that? That's a one-off, man. The fact that there is any sequels in the first place is crazy. But I'm really excited for more Urban Legend. This and The Faculty I could totally see doing more of. That makes a lot of sense to me from a lot of the Scream, not spin-offs, they're not rip-offs, right? But they're just like, in terms of tone, totally going for the same thing, like teen drama horror, which like dominated the late 90s and sort of the early thousands too. But I'm excited for it, man. I love that first Urban Legend is so much fun. I can't wait for more of that. Madison is joining us too, saying, hello, Poop Man. Hello, Poop Lady. I have a surprise for the Poop Lady. I can't wait for her to see it. So it's gonna be fun. It's sitting right behind me. It's off screen though. You can't see what it is. It's one of her favorite snacks. CH is saying, I believe this Final Destination movie will shock us because we'll finally have answers of everything. Oh, I hope we don't have everything answered. That's no fun. I like mystique, you know? I really value mystique. That's what keeps me coming back to horror franchises is the fact that all the answers aren't given to us quite yet. We're probably going to get some answers, right? I think we're going to learn more about William Bloodworth and what his whole deal is. Because, you know, rest in peace to Tony Todd. I don't think that character's coming back anytime soon. If they recast him, I'm jumping ship. I'm jumping ship from this franchise. Are you kidding me? You can't recast him. Crazy. So I'm personally, I want some answers, but not all of them. You know, I think the mystique and the unknown is what keeps horror franchises alive and well. Don't ruin all that. You know, don't give all of it to us. Don't front load your movie with everything there is to know. Then why am I watching? Shot by Shot is saying, I'm going to be honest, I don't like the Final Destination films. I've seen almost every movie this year. We're moving on to the next thing. Damn. You don't like the Final Destination films? I think they're really fun. You know, my thing about them too is we're talking a lot about, you know, 90s teen drama, horror, that kind of vibe. I think, you know, one of the biggest things about this franchise is that it's gory, but it also has that, you know, fun relatability of the characters. And I think it's such a happy medium. You know, it's such a happy medium between those two phases of horror. If it's the late 90s Scream teen-inspired horror to Saw, it bridges the gap between those two things, which completely focus on two different elements to horror entirely, which is really fun. And Final Destination, it's just if you like both of those eras of horror like I do, Final Destination is like best of both worlds kind of energy. And that to me is what's always been my favorite thing about it. So I'm really hoping for I can't wait for more Final Destination. I hope this kicks off a new trilogy personally. Just laptop or PS4 as well, asks Madison. Just bring the laptop. We got a repo stream coming this weekend over on GullGotha. Please go subscribe to the gaming channel. It's going to be fun. Madison and I are going to scream with our friends as we get attacked by ghosts. So it's going to be a ton of fun. Really fun streams over there if you have not seen those yet. We also have some videos going up very soon as I can actually get them done. Nod23 Hill Jr., thank you for being a member, saying, I'm your biggest fan, Sky Riley. Oh, I love that movie. I just showed that to Madison for the first time recently. Such a good film. One of my favorites from last year. Smile 2 rocked, baby. Bring on Smile 3. I want more of those for sure. Lighting Goes throwing $5 out there talking about this week's new release a little bit. Sinners was amazing, but was disappointed with Until Dawn. Love that game, but it had fun kills, but not much else. Lighting Ghost, first of all, thank you for the 5. Really appreciate that a ton. And I got to say, I'm so on the fence with this movie. If you guys missed out on the review I posted earlier today, I did cover this one. I've been pretty late to some of the new releases in terms of reviews, but I actually did get one out for this one. I'm like, I don't know how to feel about it. I really don't know how to feel about Until Dawn. I had a very good time watching it. I will say that. But there are some obvious holes you can poke in that story in terms of character development and what the fuck is actually going on. I won't spoil anything because it's a very fresh movie, but like they never really offer up an answer as to what's happening. And I was just saying, the Shot by Shot, I like a good mystery, a good mystique. But if you give your audience absolutely nothing to play with or think about, that's just not, you've created a situation and have done nothing to even hint at the inner workings of it. And I don't know, I just feel like it was really underdeveloped. It's a great concept. It's a really interesting concept as a standalone movie. As an adaptation of that video game, kind of underwhelming. So I think if you're going into this expecting an adaptation of the game, you're going to be disappointed. But if you're something like how I explained it in my review is that it's almost like it's answering the question of what if Cabin in the Woods had a sequel that tried some new shit out. That is what this movie is ultimately. I think it's just David F. Sandberg wanting an excuse to make his own Cabin in the Woods. And if you look at it that way, it's a really fun movie. It's no 10 out of 10, you know, it's not a masterpiece by any means. It's a great popcorn flick though. I had a good time with it. Great kills, some really surprising things that they focus on in terms of horror. It's not just a slasher, which was really refreshing. I feel like everything's trying to be a slasher nowadays. That gets really popular. But I don't know. Lots to love here, personally, even though there's a lot to hate too. I even said, I actually ended the review by saying there's going to be a vocal minority that loves this film and everyone else is going to hate it. And I proudly will stand in that vocal minority that I actually did enjoy it. But I totally understand why a lot of people are going to walk away disappointed from this one, because the video game story is easily better. It's without a doubt, no argument, stronger, way more interesting. And some of the things that they reworked in this new film from the video game don't work at all. And it's a shame. But I won't say that, because there's a hint at maybe more that they could do with it. And I won't say any more than that. But go see it. It's definitely it's gonna be one of the most divisive horror films of the year. Definitely one that a lot of people are gonna be talking about. So it's a good one to go watch. Give it a watch, and then let me know in the comments of that video what you guys think about that one. And Lighting Goats is even following that up, saying the characters pissed me off. One of the characters in particular pissed me off too. I was furious. I'm like, dude, you have learned nothing. You have learned nothing in the 12 whatever days you've been here. Oh my God. One guy, I just wanted to smack him in the face a couple of times, washboard him like that, you know? Just a couple of times. Maybe that'll knock some sense into him. I'm kidding. That's a joke. Lighting Ghost, though, thank you for the 5. I really do appreciate it. And I can't disagree with that take at all. I totally get being disappointed with Until Dawn, but I weirdly had some fun with it. What can I say? Deadshot saying Keith David is Bloodworth. Kidding. The character should stay only with Tony Todd. Okay, you know what, though? I hear you on Keith David. I feel like it's more of an honor thing, though, in terms of, retiring that character. Because it's one of Tony Todd's most legendary characters. You know what I mean? It's awesome. It's a role that I think he's always going to do best. I wouldn't hate Keith David in that role, though, if we're just talking all willy-nilly. I've used that phrase twice now in 16 minutes. I have to stop. Lightning Ghost is also saying congrats to your sister. Thank you so much. They are so happily married. They're the coolest couple ever. So I love them a bunch, and I'm so glad that they're finally together. It's really cool. To the window, to the wall, as the sweat drips down my balls, is saying, I'm surprised nobody has made videos on Dewey's dialogue and Sydney's dialogue near the third act of 3. He's watching and he wants you, and you're dead. You can take all this in different ways. Huh? I gotta rewatch 3. I'm trying to remember what you're talking about here. Erica is saying, hey everyone, don't forget to follow Jake's gaming channel. He's streaming there for some horror game fun. You're damn right. Go subscribe to GullGotha. We got a fun stream happening this weekend, especially if you like these weird ass off the wall streams. There's even more of that where this came from. And instead of me bitching about horror films, we're just having a fun time over there. So if you want a little more of a lackadaisical, vibing out, savory kind of stream with some weird friends, stop on by. It's a good time. Madison really wants to see Until Dawn. She's so upset that I couldn't go and see it with you. It's all good, Madison. I was making fun of you a little bit in today's video. I know you don't watch the KillJoy Jake videos, so I felt like that was a safe space to do that. But I was like, no one wanted to go see the film with me. I was all sad. No, it's all good. She was literally at work. It's not a big deal. But I would love, honestly, I'd see it again. I would see it again in the theaters if you really want to go check it out. I really would not mind giving this one another watch. There's actually some things that I kind of want to go back and rewatch about that film, because I'm thinking to myself, man, I don't know if I loved this or hated this or whatnot. Talking Chucky podcast is with us too, who left this comment on the review video. This is something I actually wanted to get into. Yeah, they do hint at the Until Dawn story, because if you've seen the trailer, you know that it's not the one-to-one story from the video game, but they do hint at the existence of this story, like it has happened somewhere. And you're even saying that we probably will never get that sequel. You know what? You never know. You never know if that's going to be the case. I think it would be weird at this point if they did that with the sequel after doing what they did here, but maybe it could be like a bounce back kind of idea. You know, we open up we open up this story to all these different possibilities that, like, maybe this is happening all over the world, similar to Cabin in the Woods, and then we tell the actual Until Dawn story in the next one. That could be. I wouldn't be against that personally, but again, you know, we've kind of already done something else with this storyline. Why do that now? Maybe as a kind of like an ugly Sonic fix, like what they did with that, you know, opposed to releasing the film with ugly Sonic after all the internet backlash. They fixed it. Maybe that's what they do with the sequel. Who knows? Anything's possible, Talking Chucky. Anything can happen. Aaron Hughes is excited for Final Destination 6. May 16th, baby. It's coming just in 3 weeks here. You've not seen any of them? Oh, dude, totally give them a... They're so much fun. They're great to binge, super easy watches, nothing too thought out or anything. Really fun stuff there for sure. Going back to Cody has been a member for 6 months. Dude, thank you so much for that, Cody. Really appreciate you. I saw in the Discord you were saying that you just renewed your membership, so appreciate that a ton, man. Saying, saw Sleepaway Camp for the first time the other night. Oh my, I wish I was you. Cody, I wish I could watch that movie for the first time again. What a weird one. Oh, I love it. And if they did a remake or reboot, should Angela come back? Also, it's a good gross film. I enjoyed it. Eat shit and live, Bobby, or whatever the line is. Or no, eat shit and die. Eat shit and live. I love that. That is like my favorite. Dude, that's so good. 10 out of 10 dialogue from that movie. If you have not seen Sleepaway Camp, do yourself a favor. Do yourself a favor and put that one on. It is bizarre as fuck. I would not mind more of that. I would not mind more Sleepaway Camp, especially if Felissa Rose came back. That would be so cool. She's great. She is so kind. I've never actually met her. I've never met her. I sound like Tommy Wiseau. No, I never actually met her before, but I hear she's just super kind in real life and super cool. I would love to see her come back and play that character. Maybe in a new movie as an adult. I don't know. I don't even know what that storyline would be, but I would vibe with it. This is one of those like weird ass franchises that I'm like, you know what? You can make another one of those. I don't care if it doesn't make sense. Run it. Run it. It's just campy fun. 80s camp and fun. I'm all about it. Deadshot's throwing 5 out there too. Thank you for another super chat, my friends. Appreciate you. Thanks for the support. What if Stephanie at the end of Final Destination 6 has her own vision that could set off a sequel? Honestly, would be weird, but give them props. It ends with a cliffhanger. I'm all about an interesting cliffhanger, especially in Final Destination. I think you could totally do that. This one seems to be something weird and different. I've been trying to put out a theory video literally all week, and I just have not had time for it. But some new pictures came out, which actually one of those new pictures is the thumbnail of the stream we're watching right now. And one of the pictures, it gives me a whole idea of something that I think we've all been kind of talking about, like being legit in this movie. That's not the case at all. So now I think this movie has something else going on entirely. And I'm really excited to get into that soon. I'm kind of hoping for the trailer, that final trailer to come out soon. When that drops, I think I will absolutely bring up all these theories I have. Hopefully that comes soon. But I really like the idea of, our lead here, our new lead is presumably Stephanie, maybe having her own vision like what you're talking about. Because it seems like the premonition here is the one that happens all the way back in the 60s and is just coming now to collect. So how can we, how do we change that up? Do we have another premonition? Hey, I'm down for it. I think that could be really fun. I love a good cliffhanger, especially in a franchise like Final Destination, which is setting itself up for more. There is no doubt in my mind, or maybe anybody else's, that this is going to make money. Final Destination Bloodlines is pulling in some big bucks. That's for sure. People love this. People love this series so much, and the fact that it's back has a lot of. There's so much hype for this movie, which is so exciting. It feels like we're talking about a Scream film, which there's not a whole lot of hype for that new one, but there is a lot of hype for this, which is exciting as hell. Lighting Ghost is also throwing $5 out there, saying, "I actually don't mind the way the new Predator looks, but people seem to hate it." Lighting Ghost, thank you for the 5 again. I don't get I really don't get the hate. I feel like it's coming. The hate is coming from people who don't know what this film is about. It's supposed to be a young, like a teenager predator who's trying to prove himself. He's a good guy this time around. I think if you don't know that, it looks odd. It looks like, oh, that's not right. That's not what the original one looked like. I did a side-by-side comparison of like the original Predator from the 80s movie to what this guy looks like. And it's like, yeah, of course he doesn't look the same. This is we're talking about like the villain, crazy ass alien that Arnold has no idea how to kill until, the end of the movie, of course, versus a predator we're supposed to be rooting for, who's like this, basically a young man trying to prove himself in this very vicious, cutthroat, dog-eat-dog world. It's just two totally different types of stories and types of characters. Of course, this predator is going to look different. I think understanding that, if you knew that about the story, there wouldn't be as much hate. That's where I think a lot of it is coming from, is a lot of people are thinking, this is the bad guy? This is the thing I'm supposed to be afraid of? No, this is the monster you're supposed to be rooting for in this movie, which is what makes it so weird. honestly, that Predator Badlands trailer, I get the hype behind this one a ton. I get the hype behind this movie entirely. It's a secret Alien versus Predator film. There's no denying that. I think that this big monster that they're teasing in the trailer too is some sort of experiment from, some of the plot lines we saw in Prometheus or Alien Covenant. I feel like it could totally be some sort of spin on that. I also think that we're on the Jackson Star Colony from Alien Romulus. I think that is totally a setting that we see in the trailer. I think. Theories, though. All speculation, all theories. But I'll tell you what, I'm unbelievably excited. Listen, I'm a horror fan. I've never been this excited for November. November is like my least favorite time of the year because no one cares. Everyone's like sick of horror by that time. Like August, September, October, it's just building. It's building. All the hype for horror is crazy. And then November, everyone's like, okay, it's Christmas time. Fuck you, Jake. we're doing something else now. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I'll keep the horror train rolling when y'all want to come back. But it always does crack me up. It always funny. It's always funny because November is like a time where not a lot of horror comes out, but now things have just simply changed, right? We got Thanksgiving a few years ago that came out then. Heretic came out last year in November, which was really good. Big surprise. And now we have Predator Badlands, which I'm thinking one of the better horror films of the year, honestly. It looks really good. Looks like it could be my new favorite Predator sequel. And I think if anyone can do it, it's Dan Trachtenberg. So run it. I can't wait for this new Predator. I'm really excited for it. Lighting Ghost, thank you for the 5, though. Appreciate you a ton. Talking Chucky podcast is also saying Felissa was asked to do Sleepaway Camp 2, but was more interested in going to college at the time. I actually don't mind the actress that replaced her in the 2 sequels. It's fun. You know what I mean? I don't think it's the same as the first one. I think the Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3, which I believe were shot like simultaneously, like they shot them like at the same time. They're fun. They're kind of just basic 80s slashers. That first one is just like campy 80s masterpiece. And there's something about 80s camp specifically that just does it for me in ways that other time periods of campiness just doesn't. I don't know, something about that first movie, it cracks me up. It tickles all my bones. As they say. Carrie Plays Games. What's up, Carrie? Saying new one story could be that she now owns a summer camp, maybe. Okay, for Sleepaway Camp. I love that we have so much love for Sleepaway Camp. Such a weird out there series in horror that I feel like most people don't know about. But shit, didn't know we had so many Sleepaway Camp fans out there. This is awesome. I like the idea of her owning a summer camp, though. Like maybe she's trying to gloss over that awful memory of when she was a kid or something along those lines. Has gotten away with murder all this time. If we're gonna do a direct sequel to the original, I could get into that. I could vibe with that. Casey Ray Bowden Vivo. Damn, y'all doing music and shit? That's cool. Not a fan of the look of Megan 2.0. The first one had horror elements. I don't see any horror elements in the trailer for the new one. One of my favorite things about the original Megan was I went into it thinking this is going to be a brain rot TikTok movie for people who are going to be looking at their phones the entire time. And I actually got way more than that out of that flick. There is some genuinely fantastic commentary on AI and how a lot of parents just put a phone in their kids' hands and they let that thing raise them. And I'm someone who I really want to have kids one day, and I feel very passionately about raising good people, bringing like a good person into the world. And I think that one of the worst ways to do it is just putting an iPad or a phone into a child's hand. Just let them be distracted, completely kill their focus and any sort of manners or anything that they, it's so interruptive. It's so disruptive. That's what I should say. It's such a disruptive thing to give to a child who's in this like learning state. It makes me so mad. And Megan has a ton of commentary on it that really spoke to me, and I really enjoyed it. So for me personally, that's what I'm not seeing in Megan 2.0. It looks like they're just leaning into the comedy elements from the original, opposed to the horror and the commentary of the original that actually made it a pretty strong flick. Like, yeah, it's goofy as hell. I mean, that first Megan is goofy as fuck. And I like that, but it's not just that. It's not just the goofy dances and her singing, what's the fucking song from the original? I can't remember, but she sings that song after like a really creepy monologue to Katie, and it's hilarious. I'm just seeing that comedy from Megan 2.0, like with a shot of adrenaline straight to the heart, and that's it. So I agree with you. That's all I'm seeing from this one. This feels like the movie I was afraid the original one was going to be, and I really hope that's not the case for the sequel. And Deadshot's even saying it's T2 but goofy, which is funny. Yeah, definitely a Terminator parallel without a doubt. They're bringing her back, and she's a good guy now. I don't know. I think that, what keeps my hope alive for Megan 2.0 is that there's a shot in the trailer where we might get a little bit of commentary, maybe a little more ham-fisted than the original, but I'm still vibing with it. There's this shot where we have all these like protesters, and they're all like pro Megan. And they're saying things like, we don't care that she killed 4 people. She slays queen or something like that. And I'm like, okay, that could be funny. That could be funny and thoughtful. And that's what I'm looking for from a Megan sequel. Because, man, like, I don't know. I can't just... I need more than just funny quips and blood and gore. You know what I mean? You got to be able to do more than that with a horror movie nowadays. There's already like 1,000 movies that are exactly that. You need to offer more in the modern day to offer up something fresh, unless you're continuing a franchise. Then it's a completely different question, argument, conversation, whatever. So I really want to see, Megan 2.0 succeed. I really do. But I have my doubts. We'll see. We'll see what ends up coming from it. Pert Minded is saying, were they expecting the Predator to look attractive or something? I think they wanted an attractive Predator. Full, like, big old titties, muscles, and a gigantic dong. That's what they wanted on the Predator. And they didn't get that. That's not what we got. Totally fair. Totally fair if you're upset with the new Predator movie for that reason. But Pert Minded, you're right. I that's what I don't understand. I think it's like, this is a character. This isn't supposed to be a monster this time around. This is like the character we're rooting for, essentially, along with Elle Fanning, who is a Weyland Yutani android, which is like, oh my God, that's so exciting. Man, I can't wait for Predator Badlands. I am over the moon. Predator is not a horror film franchise. Alien is, and Predator is the action. I completely disagree. Predator is a horror film. That first movie is fucking scary. It's action horror. I'll give you that. It's adjacent, but it is definitely horror, my friends. Have you seen Predator 2? There's so much blood and guts in Predator 2. What's the apartment sequence where all the people are skinned and hung up? That's brutal, dude. Oh man, I love it. It's action horror. It definitely has the horror element to it, though. Kind of like if you want a modern example, what is it? Army of the Dead, action horror, baby. That's a really good like 50-50 split. You have like the zombie horror element, and also you have like some action plot lines and sequences. So you get a little bit of both. You can be two things at the same time, especially in film. Billy Boy is saying, Jake, what's in the box? I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Gwyneth Paltrow's head, but I might be spoiling something that some people might not have seen. If you haven't seen Seven, you are missing out. Oh, what a movie. I watched that one like late last year. So much fun. Really good stuff there. Jacob 2023, this is me from 2 years ago, actually, is saying the Terrifier crew needs to do a remake of Sleepaway Camp. Ooh! That is totally an opinion I would have had 2 years ago, too. I'm convinced this is me from the past. No, I love that idea so much. That would be a really good mixture because especially Fuzz on the Lens. I've seen like 3 Fuzz on the Lens movies now, and they always have to have like a comedy element in there. And honestly, it's probably my biggest criticism of them. I love them a ton. Sometimes the comedy doesn't always land for me, but man, the horror is always great in their flicks. It's always a lot of fun. You're never gonna have a bad time with the Fuzz on the Lens production. And I think that they would genuinely do really well with Sleepaway Camp. They've worked with Felissa Rose before. She's actually in their movie Stream, which I think is by far my favorite from movies I've seen from them. That would be good. Man, yeah, I love that idea. 10 out of 10. Run it. Carrie Plays Games is saying, yeah, the trailer for Megan didn't really impress me, but I've heard so many good things about the movie. I'll need to check it out at some point. Definitely give it a watch. I mean, it's going to be one of the bigger event films of the summer in terms of horror. Definitely one to watch. Have you ever seen Seven? Of course I have. Come on now. Jordan Curley's going to see Minecraft tomorrow. Very cool. Very cool. Let me know how it is. I've only heard bad reviews, but let me know. PNG is saying, what up, brah? What up, PNG? How you doing? Are you the image type? Is that what you are? You prefer PNG over JPEG? Fair enough. Fair enough. Casey is saying, I want there to be an Alice in Wonderland horror remake. That could be fun. Wasn't the one from, is it like the 2000s or the 2010s? That one's got like a little bit of a horror-y edge to it a bit. Alice in Wonderland, though, could be fun. Fun as a horror film. I could see it happening. If they do a remake of Sleepaway Camp, then Felissa Rose would come back as the camp counselor. You'd have to do that. Come on now. Your favorite liar is saying, how do you want Ready or Not, Here I Come story to play out? What is your biggest worry? Right now I'm so glossed over that. I'm going to gloss that film all day until I see something I'm not liking about it. Dude, the cast is unbelievable. The cast for that film is like, I can't even believe this is reality. What? Holy shit, so many people that I just love, all in the same film. We have, Samara Weaving coming back from the original, which is like, of course, you can't make a Ready or Not movie without her. Catherine Newton's gonna be in it. Holy shit. David Cronenberg, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Elijah Wood. What? All 5 of those people in the same movie? And there's other cast members too, but these ones are the ones that I'm just like, this is so exciting. What? Oh my God, that's crazy. But like, just 5 people who I adore all in the same film. My head's gonna explode, just like the people at the end of the first one. Dude, bring it on. I cannot wait for some more Ready or Not. I was, admittedly, I was skeptical. That's another movie where I'm like, that's so specific. Kind of like I Know You Did Last Summer. Let's leave it how it is. One and done, totally fine with that. But hearing about this cast, man, that's really strong. And I think genuinely 2 of the things you need more than anything before a film even begins shooting, you need a good script, you need a good cast. And so far, Ready or Not 2 has checked one of those boxes without a doubt in my mind. So I'm really hoping they have a good script. As long as they have a good idea, I think that this is going to be a win. But we'll see. We'll see. PNG is not really hyped for this one personally. I literally can't handle the suspense these movies are able to achieve in the death scenes. More of a psychological cosmic horror type of guy. I like being scared. I love being scared so much. I want to be terrified if I see a horror movie personally. I can get into more fun horror too, for sure, but I think the ones that tend to really like get to me or leave a mark are the ones that like actually are able to scare me. I've seen, man, I've seen the majority of horror films, at least all the big ones, that have come out, in the last like pretty much this entire decade that I've been doing this. And it takes a lot to scare me these days. I'll see movies I haven't seen from the past, and I'll be like, people will hype it up and be like, oh, it's terrifying. And I'm like, it was okay. I enjoyed it. But when a movie really does scare me, when I do end up seeing something that fucks me up, that's when I'm like, okay, this is something special. This is something good. I even like Sinners, man. I don't even think I was scared of that film. It was just such a well done story, and I think that's why a lot of people are not calling it horror. But I also don't think, the other side of that coin is you don't have to make a scary film to be horror. If you have something that is horror adjacent, that's still horror. I think that's why maybe there's some confusion, like with Predator, like what we were just talking about. Like, no, that's definitely horror. This is an alien coming to Earth and hunting people down, killing them. That's a scary concept. Maybe it doesn't necessarily scare you. Maybe I'm not scared that predators hanging underneath my bed. I'm scared of other predators hanging underneath my bed, but that's a completely different story. Sorry, I'm sorry. I had an opportunity. I had to take it. No, but I think that, I want to be scared by movies personally, but I get how it could be too much for some people. I do understand that. But you like psychological and cosmic horror. That's what I'm trying to get around here, PNG. You like that, but can't handle Final Destination. That's interesting. I would like to have a conversation with you, good sir. I would like to sit down and have a long conversation about your horror takes, because I'm fascinated by this. And PNG stands for purple and gold for the Lakers, of course. My bad. I'm so sorry. I work online, so that's all I'm thinking about all day is PNG and JPEG, MP4 files. That's what goes through my brain all day. It's so exciting being a YouTuber, especially around tax season, let me tell you. Oh boy, I had so much fun doing that for a month. Ella has been a member for 7 months. Ella, thank you so much for being a member. Appreciate you a ton. You're on your way to work, but hope stream goes very well. It's going great. It's going great, Ella. Thank you for being a member for as long as you have. Ella is super cool, by the way. She works at a weed dispensary. How fucking sick is that? I wish I was Ella. She has the coolest job here, let me tell you. But Ella, have fun at work. Get a little baked. Why not? Have fun. It was 420 a few days ago. have a good time. I hope work does not suck. I hope it's a fun time, just full of stoned people. RJ Skarenki is saying, I'm waiting for the Minecraft movie to come to streaming. Not gonna lie, I can't stand all the chicken jockey movie theater rampage stuff. I can't either, so I'm just waiting until streaming to see that one. I'm not in any rush to see that. So we'll see. We'll see what it's all about. I'm so like just it comes like I've seen so many Jack Black movies from the last couple of years that just feel so corporate to me. It feels like they're making jokes that like everyone's gonna laugh at, and they're really not that funny. It's nothing you're like coming home and talking about afterwards. I don't know. I don't know if I can stomach another one of those after the 2 Jumanji films that I've seen, which I actually liked the first one. I had a good time with it, but then like they just kept making movies that felt exactly the same. And I'm sick. I'm kind of at the point where I'm just like, okay, we have done this movie 100 times now with Jack Black in almost all of them. let's do something else, man. Let's stop ripping off Guardians of the Galaxy for like 2 seconds, man. Let's chill on that. I love Guardians of the Galaxy too, and I can't even watch those movies anymore. Like I've seen so many movies that have ripped it off. I'm like, okay, all right. It's like Deadpool, man. Like that movie, I loved Deadpool for so long, and now I'm just like, I've seen so many movies that have tried to do the same thing, and I'm sick of it, I guess. So crazy. How do you feel about Haley Steinfeld's lines in Sinners, bro? That was crazy. When she spit in that guy's mouth, I had an awakening personally, Billy boy. I can't say that on stream. No, but you know, it's funny. I called my buddy after I saw Sinners. He's a huge vampire friend. My writing partner, Connor. Love him to death. Shout out to Connor. He's great. Him and I wrote Chicken Man together, actually. He wants to do a vampire period piece so bad. And I saw this movie. I called him immediately after. I'm like, Connor, dude, stop whatever you're doing. Go see this movie. You're going to love it. And he sees it and he comes over the other day and he's like, Jake, I have to tell you, I saw that movie and I felt some things when Haley Steinfeld spit in that guy's mouth. And I'm like, I'm so glad I'm not the only one. This is great. No, but I think that's so funny. I'm like, he's so nuanced with period pieces and he wants to do that. But he's pitched like 3 different ideas to me at different times about vampire period pieces, and he loved it. But that was the first thing he told me, and I just think that's so funny. That was his first thing he had to get out about that movie, and it's still making me laugh. The Chain TV is with us too, saying, what's your take of Megan 2 turning from horror just to sci-fi action? I'm going to give in, I have said some negative things about it tonight, but I'm still going into it with an open mind. Like I said, I really enjoyed the first one. It was a big surprise in my opinion, and actually made my top 10 horror list of 2023. It's stayed up there all year long in 2023. I liked it. I really liked that first one. So I'm going into this one with an open mind. I'm not loving the direction that they're going with it. There's a lot of things in the trailer that just kind of have me rolling my eyes. But like I said, I even mentioned something earlier. There is promise for those same things that made the original so great to still be present here. Hopefully, fingers crossed. And I hope that's the case. But again, I'm also kind of, I'm preparing to be disappointed at the same time. Blumhouse Blumhouse doesn't necessarily need this to succeed, but they do have a spin-off movie coming out next year based on this one. So I think they really do want Megan 2 to take off, be another flagship series for them. But as I said this back in 2023, but I'll say it again here because it still rings true. Blumhouse can kind of do whatever the fuck it wants for the next couple of years because they have Five Nights at Freddy's. If everything else they put out completely fails, like The Exorcist Believer absolutely fucking did, and they're still trying to make that work, and I think it actually will, but that's a different conversation. Five Nights at Freddy's will make up for all of it. Like Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is easily going to be the most profitable film this year. No doubt in my mind. In terms of horror, it will make the most money from any horror film ever. It's going to be the biggest fucking thing ever, and it doesn't even matter if it's a good movie or not. It's going to make quadrillion dollars. And Blumhouse will be fine. So Blumhouse can kind of do whatever the fuck it wants, and it's going to continue doing whatever the fuck it wants for the next couple of years until they milk the Freddy Fazbear teat dry. Let me tell you. Scrolling down here, we got Yurdy G. Thank you for the 5. Really do appreciate you a ton. Saying, I just made my barber stop my haircut to watch this greatness. Why, you and your barber can watch this together. Why not? Hello, Yurdy G's barber. How are you? Good to see you, bro. I'm ready for Until Dawn and hurry up tomorrow by the weekend. Ooh. So, Yurt, here's what I'll tell you. Mr. Yurt, or Mr. G. So sorry. First of all, thank you for the 5. Really do appreciate that. And definitely give Until Dawn a watch. I'm on the fence about it. I saw it last night. I had a good time with it, but I also understand the people that are going to hate this film. If you're a fan of the video game, you might not be crazy about it. you might not be crazy about it, but I think it's a really fun answer to some questions that I have had personally in the world of horror. And I've always wanted to see a Cabin in the Woods sequel. I think that they could do it if they make it a prequel. I should clarify. I don't think they could actually do a sequel to Cabin in the Woods, but something in that same universe from the past, they could totally do that. And I would love to see that movie because that is like one of my favorite horror films that has a meta touch to it. I think it's easily one of the best outside of Scream. But if you want more of that, you might enjoy Until Dawn. I got a lot out of it personally, but I also understand why some people are like, fuck this movie. Please, please redo this and make it the story from the video game. I also understand that too, because even though I did like the film, I'm leaning towards I'm on the fence, but I'm leaning towards one side, I'm leaning towards I liked it, but at the same time, the video game story is better. Like, I'll tell you that right now. Like, the video game story easily beats that one out. Even as a fan of the film, I do like the video game much, much better. Well, more thought out, way better cast. But there is still a lot to love about that one. So give it a watch. Let me know what you think. If you hate it, that's totally cool too. I want to know what Yurdy G's opinion is on this. You're also talking about Hurry Up Tomorrow, which is a movie that I don't hear a lot of horror fans talking about, but honestly, I am weirdly excited for it. It's like The Weeknd co-wrote it. He stars in it, and it also has Jenna Ortega and some other big name in it who I can't remember. But it looks bizarre. It looks really weird. It looks like a trippy horror film, and I am all about trippy, baby. Like, there's some genres where I'm just like, I'm a sucker for them, and one of them is trippy sci-fi, and this seems to be exactly that. Most trippy sci-fi horror films I've seen, I've really enjoyed. But, some people, they're not crazy about that, and that's okay. That's totally cool, but I tend to like these. Ash, for instance, from Flying Lotus earlier this year, I fucking loved. And I know some people were like, oh, it was boring. It was this and that, whatever. One of my favorites of the year, I think, easy so far. I loved it. It was basically Flying Lotus doing a Dead Space movie, and that is like the coolest thing ever, in my opinion. So rock on to that. I'm excited for this, though, whatever this ends up being. Bring it on. Let's see what The Weeknd can do in terms of writing and acting. I mean, we've kind of seen him act before. He was in what is it? Uncut Gems. And he was, it was cool. He kind of just got the shit beat out of him by Adam Sandler. But I've always been a fan of his music. I really enjoy his music a ton. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see what else comes from this. So it's going to be fun. Yurdy, thank you for the 5. Really appreciate that a bunch. Both of those movies were ones I was highly anticipating this year, so I'm excited to see where they end up going. But let me know what you think about both of them. Hurry Up Tomorrow also comes out the same weekend as Final Destination 6. I'm going to try to cover it. I'm going to do my absolute best to cover it alongside all of this madness, but obviously Final Destination has taken some priority around here. Kitsu Fur is saying, I would like to see an air pressure decompression death in Final Destination. I can't believe that this concept has been rarely used in horror. I would love to see a saw trap involving decompression. Ooh, okay. That's interesting. That's kind of, did you see, oh my God, what was that? There's a movie with something like that in, and I can't think of it. Totally escaping me. I'm so sorry. I had an example and it came and it went. Train of thought derailed. But I would love to see that. That could be really cool, especially in Final Destination, yes, but in Saw, that could be even more. I think that could be even cooler. But hell, okay, rock on. I like that a lot, Kitsu Fur. We know that there's an MRI machine kill, which I have seen a leaked version of the final trailer, but again, I don't really want to talk about it until it officially comes out. I think that kind of bums me out when people talk about something before it releases, because then it's like, well, I kind of want to see that in its full glory. I want to see it when the marketing team decides it's time to see that. There's some things I'll talk about early, some things I feel weird about. That's kind of one of those things. But we actually got another shot of the MRI trap the MRI machine kill. It's an accident, right? It's an accident in Final Destination, where in Saw it's purposeful. But it looks cool. It looks like a lot of fun, and I'm excited to finally see that one in the flesh. Samantha Robinson is saying, Jake, what do you think about a horror movie that takes place at a dispensary? I think that could be really fun. I think that could be actually really cool. There's, weed in terms of how the public views it, I think has changed drastically just in the last like 20 years. As it's become more legalized here in the States, I feel like people don't look at it as much as taboo. Science has proved it's nowhere near as bad as something like alcohol, which literally destroys your body. Where weed, I mean, it's a little bad for your heart, but like that's about it, dude. So it's really interesting. The public perception of weed has changed. Could you do something with that? Can we talk about that in horror? I don't know. Honestly, it would have been easier to make a weed horror film in the 1980s. Maybe that's where you set it. Maybe that's what you do. It's like 80s. Well, how would you make that at a dispensary though? I don't know. Point being, there's a lot you could talk about there, I think, with horror. Horror is such a great place to express things about any sorts of issues or just things on the brain, things that we're all scared of. That's where the best horror comes from. And I know a lot of people, I've had people say like, what, Jake, why do you care about all that with horror films? And I'm like, man, the best horror films have something to say. Almost across the board. Like there are some really fun ones that are like little popcorn horror flicks where it's like, oh, okay, this is a good time. Love it. But even films like that you wouldn't expect, even the ones that you wouldn't be like, oh, that, I don't know if that's saying anything in particular, but man, you can learn so much about older, like a time period based on the horror films that were coming out. And it's almost like a time capsule of what was going through the brains of people back then. I mean, even The Thing. I think there's so much to be said about The Thing being at the theaters at the same time as something like E.T. and E.T. having so much more love than The Thing. And now something like John Carpenter's The Thing is so much more popular. It's considered a cult classic, even though at the time it was like nominated for Razzies. People fucking hated it. And it's wild. I mean, it's wild how things can be so ahead of their time and be considered classics now, where back then they just weren't. People had a completely different state of mind about certain topics or certain categories of film than how we do now and how we view things in this day and age. So it's interesting. I have always felt that horror films, the best ones at least, have something to say, are political at their core. Even if it doesn't seem direct or in your face. I mean, there's always something to be said about horror and the state of the genre. D.A. Miles Mod Maker is saying, bro, they need to make a Choose Your Fate on the DVD on Final Destination 6 like Final Destination 3. I've done so much reading about that recently. I need to just get a DVD of that and see what it's all about. I feel like they don't care about like behind the scenes shit on physical media anymore. There's like never anything fun on new releases for modern movies. Like I'm someone who I love to watch all the behind the scenes of something, even if it's like the most minuscule detail, whatever. But man, there's a lot of new movies, especially in the last like 5 years or so, that there's just not a ton of bonus features. They'll have some deleted scenes and maybe a gag reel or something like that, but rarely do they even have like an interview with the cast. I was watching what was it, X? Like the behind the scenes for X on a do we have a Blu-ray or a 4K of that? I'm not sure, but I mean, they have like one cast interview with like all of them kind of talking about the movie a little bit. That's it. That's like all the behind the scenes. I'm like, are you serious? Like, I want to know way more about this. This is such an interesting movie, especially with how they shot it. So I don't, it kind of bums me out that they don't do weird shit like that anymore. D.A. Miles Mod Maker. I wish that they would do more. It's fun. Jordan Curley, yes, there will be a stream tomorrow on the gaming channel. We are playing some more Repo, which you said is amazing to watch. Well, how about them apples? Well, if Jordan must think it's so amazing, so stop on by if you think it might be amazing and give it a watch. It's awesome. Let me tell you. Someone just said something that I thought was really interesting, and I wanted to get to that, and I scrolled past it. Seredley, by the way, if you want to see the leaked Final Destination trailer, go check out this fella's page. Not trying to get you in trouble or nothing, my friend, but but go check that out if you want to see it early. I'm waiting to talk about it until we get an official release. But soon. I already have some theories cooked up. You're saying that Smile is leagues above Truth or Dare, so I doubt it'll get a sequel. Oh, you're talking about Truth or Dare getting a sequel? Yeah, Smile, I mean, is just, again, you want to talk about a concept being way more thought out. Man, yeah, Smile, just so much more to love about that. Truth or Dare feels very gimmicky. You know, it just feels like, oh, well, everyone's familiar with the game. So let's just put that as the title. People will come see it. Smile, sure, maybe a little gimmicky with its, you know, with what it ultimately does. It's a demon that possesses people, makes you smile all creepy and weird, but there's so much more to it than that. Again, this is another franchise that is so cynical and mean-spirited, but in a really, really fun way, just like Final Destination. So I love Smile. I hope we get a third one. There's already talks about that going around. Parker Finn or whatever is seemingly doing that. I would go so far as to say that Parker Finn could become a master of horror. I'm not saying it yet. Smile and Smile 2 are great, but I think it would be like too soon. It would be way too soon to call this fella a master of horror. But I think in a couple of years, a few more movies under this fella's belts, we could get there. Even Fede Alvarez, who I am such a fanboy for, I think it's so cool that he did like the internet, viral internet star to filmmaker Pipeline, and here he is making a fucking, Evil Dead and Alien film. That's so cool. I didn't feel like he was a master of horror until just Alien Romulus coming out. Like, that movie came out and I'm like, okay, you know what? That fucking rocks, dude. That's sick. 3 bangers from this guy, all in the space. Rock on. Rock on, man. So personally, I need more than just the Smile flicks. I feel the same way about Damien Leone. I love a lot of his work too, but I wouldn't call him a master of horror quite yet. I want to see what else he has up his belt. Fede Alvarez has done a bunch of different types of horror and has done them successfully. Even Don't Breathe is so different from Evil Dead and Alien Romulus. It's a completely different style of horror. I'm not going to call someone a master of horror if they can't do a bunch of different things. I mean, even David Cronenberg, who is mostly known for body horror, has dived into very different genres and has completely abandoned body horror during an entire phase of his career and still made arguably some of his best work. I mean, oh my God, what's it called? A History of Violence and Eastern Promises, both really good movies that are kind of abandons the body horror and goes much more for like thriller vibes. And man, really good stuff. If you haven't seen those, his Vigo movies are terrific. Oh man, some really good stuff there. But yeah, I really think, to earn that title, you gotta, there's so many different kinds of horror you gotta tackle. Can't just be doing the same thing over and over again. Then you're good at one thing. That's solid. But master of horror, we're talking about a big space here. Horror is about a whole bunch of different shit. It's crazy out there. Carrie Plays Games is saying, I wanted to say thank you. You reminded me about the Final Destination books. So I managed to find and get them all downloaded today. Can't afford to buy them new or pre-owned, unfortunately. They are all online. I found exactly what you're talking about, Carrie, while I was doing my research. I should have mentioned that in that last video, now that I think about it. But yeah, all of the Final Destination books are like online. You can just read them right now. So if you're curious about that, if you want to learn more, maybe cover some of the things that I didn't talk about. If I have any regret about that Final Destination video, I kind of wish I would have gotten into some more of the kills. But that kind of felt arbitrary to me, I guess. I was like, if I just explain some of my favorite kills, that doesn't mean they're going to show up in the movie. And the whole premise behind that latest video was talking about things that this new movie could still take on. I don't know. Are they actually going to borrow any kills from those books? Maybe. That's a big maybe. Actually, one of the movies has, but just going through some of my favorite kills, it felt arbitrary. It felt like just filler in a video that could be focused on something else. So I talked about the very big things that those books did, that I feel like maybe this new movie could get into, which we already know it has gotten into. One big idea from one of the better books, the idea of some sort of flashback in the past connecting to the modern day. There's an entire book about that already, which obviously Final Destination Bloodlines, you can just tell from the trailer alone, is going to do something very similar to that. So definitely some of the books sound better than the movies. There's one called Looks Could Kill that I'm like, I want to sit down and just read that. That actually just, even outside of all of this, I would love to just sit down and read that one. It sounds really good. It's about a character who, has a premonition, survives, yada, yada. We've been through this before, but makes a deal with death that she can live if she makes sure that all of her friends die. And that is so interesting to me. She already has like a person, like some beef with all the people that survived too. So it makes sense. Ooh, man, sounds like a really good story. And I really want to go through that one to see how weird and different it ends up being. Thomas Clark is bringing up something pretty sad, actually, that happened this week. Did you hear about Lar Park Lincoln passing away? Only telekinetic to go up against Jason in the Friday the 13th series, also in House 2. I didn't know she was in House 2. That's cool. Yeah, Tina, I believe, right? In Jason versus Carrie has passed away, which is really unfortunate. I have always been a fan of Friday Part 7. If you've been watching these streams for a while, you might know this. I think that Part 7 is very underrated, in my opinion. Sure, it has its problems, but this is another film in a weird franchise that swung for the fences and mostly hits, man. If it wasn't for the MPA, formerly MPAA, just cutting this one down with all the kills, I think it would have been more well received. But I've always loved Friday Part 7. It's a really fun movie, in my opinion. And that, again, very campy, very out there, but a really good time. So if you have not, this is a really sad news, which sucks. I've always really liked this. And apparently she was in House 2. So I got to give that one a watch. I've only ever seen the first House. So, and not the TV show, just to clarify. Samantha Robinson following up with the dispensary comment saying, I'm thinking a dispensary zombie outbreak. Okay, that could be really fun. So you're holed up in a dispensary of all places during the zombie apocalypse. You know one of the characters is not going to be able to resist. They're going to be like, I'm getting baked, and then they fuck up. That leads to their death. That could be fun. Okay, I'm into that. I like that a lot. My Chunky Jordy is saying, don't choose, everyone gets off the ride, the film ends. Just, everyone stays on the ride. Fuck it. 15-minute movie, over and done with. That's really funny. Talking Chucky podcast is saying the final we already talked about that. Deadshot is saying, I think Bourne's alternate death in Romulus is more terrifying because it seems like the xenomorph took being shocked personally. Is that a deleted scene on Romulus? I still don't own that flick, which is unfortunate. I've only rewatched it on like Hulu. I need to actually buy that one and watch the behind the scenes if there are actually any, which was another topic that got brought up tonight. I love that film. That's another like easy top 10 from last year, in my opinion. Alien Romulus. I need more of that in my life. I need to buy that one, pick it up. I watched it again to really validate my parking because, dude, I came out of that film like, this is my favorite horror film of the year. That was so cool. And then I kind of had some time away from it, and I'm like, oh, well, there was this, there was that. I don't know if I actually loved everything about it. Then I watched it again, and I'm like, no, this is fucking sick, dude. Like, as a huge fan of that franchise, this was great. This was great. Fort Misery Gaming is saying, did I love or hate? Were you in the hating boat of Until Dawn, or was it worth the watch? I'm so on the fence. Watch my review because I give a better explanation than what I'm going to give you here now. But I'm on the fence. I'm really on the fence with how I feel about it. There are some things I loved. There's a lot of things I hated. So I'm in this weird vocal minority of people who feels like it's totally worth the watch. But I get why there's going to be a lot of hate for it. I feel like I'm on the other end of the Halloween Ends hype. There was a very big vocal minority who was, or I should say very loud vocal minority that loves Halloween Ends. And I just remember being, I'm just like, there's nothing, this film is a complete departure from what I love about Halloween. And I'm just not a fan. This as a Halloween film is a big miss for me personally, but I see that same argument being applied here with Until Dawn. It's like people who love Until Dawn are probably going to hate this, but as someone who, I played it once and I do love the story a bunch, but there are things about it that I just find myself absolutely loving. Like as a huge Cabin in the Woods fan, for instance, I'm seeing things that like elements of what I would love to see in a sequel to Cabin in the Woods present in this flick. And that's what I got out of it personally. Is like, this is like a really fun Cabin in the Woods sequel that's taking a different direction than what that film did, but using some of the same tools from the toolbox. Is it a good Until Dawn adaptation? No, it's not, but I do really enjoy it for what it is. If you hate this film though, if you already saw Until Dawn and you fucking hated it, I totally get it. Like, I have no strong feelings about this film because of that. Like a lot of people are going to walk away from this one and hate it, but man, I did enjoy it quite a bit. I was throwing popcorn at my face like, this is crazy. I can't believe all of this is happening. This is really cool. PNG is saying, have you watched Severance? Not yet. This is one I need to sit down and watch, though. I love Adam Scott. I love Ben Stiller. I love the entire cast of that show. And it's bizarre sci-fi. So definitely want to give that one a watch. Ladies and gentlemen, I just got my cue to get the fuck off stream, so I gotta go. But thank you to everybody who sent in super chats tonight. You're keeping the lights on here at KillJoy Jake Studios, and I appreciate you a ton. If you want to help out in other weird ways that don't involve any sort of monetary things, check out that link that Erica has put in the chat about GullGotha. Go subscribe to GullGotha. It's a gaming channel that I do here. We play horror games. Hell, we might even play Until Dawn. If a Final Destination game comes out, you know your boy's playing that one for sure too. But stop on by, go subscribe there. We're trying to hit 1,000 subs. That would help me out immensely. That'd be really cool if we could do that. So thank you to everyone who's already subscribed. Really appreciate you guys. I know there's some folks in the chats. I'm seeing a ton of you, like Silent Pause, Stupid Fizz, that I didn't say hi to. Sad Dad, I'm so sorry. You guys rock. Thank you for hanging out with me, but I do gotta go. My sister just got married, and we're gonna go party. So we will be live again, likely next Friday, and that's gonna be my last stream for a little while. I'll talk more about that next week. I'm taking a break. Finally taking a little break, which sucks. But we'll be back soon, shortly after that. But stop on by next Friday for another Final Destination stream. It's gonna be a good time. Thank you all for hanging out with me. Sorry about the Midwestern goodbye. And as always,